Introduction. The world we live in today is a far cry from what it was just a few decades ago. With the rapid advancements in technology and the ever increasing pace of life, our brains are constantly bombarded with stimuli. Whether it's the endless notifications on our phones, the allure of social media, or the instant gratification provided by streaming services, our minds are rarely at rest. While these innovations have undoubtedly brought convenience and entertainment to our lives, they have also led to an unintended consequence: overstimulation. Overstimulation occurs when we are exposed to high levels of stimuli, particularly those that trigger a release of dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical. When this happens repeatedly, our brains become accustomed to this heightened state of arousal, making it difficult for us to find satisfaction in simpler, less stimulating activities. This constant need for stimulation can lead to a range of negative effects, including a decrease in our ability to focus, heightened stress levels, and even mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. In his book, Dopamine Detox, Thibaut Meurisse delves into this phenomenon, offering a solution to the problem of overstimulation. Meurisse is an author and personal development enthusiast who has written extensively on topics related to self-improvement and mental well-being. With a background in psychology and a passion for helping others live more fulfilling lives, Maurice has made it his mission to share practical strategies for achieving personal growth and happiness. In Dopamine Detox, he presents a compelling case for why we need to take a step back from the constant stream of stimuli in our lives and offers a method for doing so. The concept of a dopamine detox is simple yet powerful. It involves temporarily abstaining from activities that overstimulate your brain's dopamine system. By doing so, you allow your brain to reset, reducing its reliance on high dopamine activities and helping you regain control over your focus and attention. This process is not about depriving yourself of pleasure, but rather about finding a healthier balance in your life. By reducing your dependence on dopamine-inducing activities, you can improve your ability to concentrate, increase your productivity, and experience greater satisfaction from the simpler things in life. To understand why a dopamine detox is necessary, it's important to first grasp the role that dopamine plays in our lives. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is often referred to as the brain's feel-good chemical. It is released in response to pleasurable experiences and plays a key role in motivation, reward, and reinforcement. When we engage in activities that are enjoyable or rewarding, such as eating a delicious meal, achieving a goal, or receiving a compliment, our brains release dopamine, which makes us feel good and encourages us to repeat the behavior. However, not all activities that trigger dopamine release are beneficial for us. In fact, many of the modern-day activities that we indulge in can lead to excessive dopamine release, creating what is known as a dopamine loop. This loop occurs when we repeatedly engage in activities that provide quick and easy hits of dopamine, such as scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or playing video games. Over time, our brains can become desensitized to dopamine, requiring more and more stimulation to achieve the same level of pleasure. This can lead to a cycle of addiction, where we constantly seek out high dopamine activities to satisfy our cravings, often at the expense of our mental and physical health. One of the main reasons why a dopamine detox is so effective is that it helps to break this cycle. By temporarily abstaining from high dopamine activities, you give your brain a chance to reset and regain its sensitivity to dopamine. This can make it easier to find pleasure in low dopamine activities, such as reading a book, going for a walk, or spending time with loved ones. Additionally, a dopamine detox can help you become more aware of the activities that trigger excessive dopamine release and allow you to develop healthier habits that promote long-term well-being. In Dopamine Detox, Meurisse emphasizes that the goal of a dopamine detox is not to eliminate all sources of pleasure from your life, but rather to regain control over your attention and focus. In a world where distractions are everywhere, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. By taking a step back from the constant stream of stimuli, you can gain clarity on your priorities and make more intentional choices about how you spend your time. One of the key benefits of a dopamine detox is that it can help improve your focus and productivity. When your brain is constantly seeking out high dopamine activities, it can be difficult to concentrate on tasks that require sustained attention and effort. This is because your brain has become accustomed to the quick hits of dopamine provided by distractions, making it harder to stay engaged in activities that don't offer immediate rewards. By reducing your reliance on high dopamine activities, you can train your brain to focus on more meaningful tasks and achieve greater levels of productivity. Another benefit of a dopamine detox is that it can help reduce stress and improve your overall mental health. When you're constantly exposed to high levels of stimulation, your brain is in a heightened state of arousal, which can lead to increased stress levels and feelings of anxiety. By taking a break from these stimuli, you give your brain a chance to relax and recover, leading to a greater sense of calm and well being. Additionally, by reducing your dependence on dopamine inducing activities, you can develop healthier coping mechanisms for dealing with stress and anxiety, such as mindfulness, meditation, or physical exercise. In his book, Meurisse also addresses the potential challenges of a dopamine detox. He acknowledges that it can be difficult to abstain from activities that have become ingrained in your daily routine, particularly in a world where technology and media are so pervasive. However, he offers practical strategies for overcoming these challenges, such as setting clear goals for your detox, finding alternative activities to replace high dopamine habits, and enlisting the support of friends or family members. One of the most important aspects of a successful dopamine detox is preparation. Maurice advises readers to start by identifying the activities that trigger excessive dopamine release and to create a plan for how they will avoid these activities during their detox. This might involve setting boundaries around the use of technology, such as turning off notifications, limiting screen time, or taking breaks from social media. It could also involve finding new hobbies or activities that provide a sense of fulfillment without overstimulating your brain, such as spending time in nature, practicing a creative skill, or engaging in physical exercise. Meurisse also emphasizes the importance of being patient and compassionate with yourself during the detox process. It's normal to experience discomfort or cravings when you first start abstaining from high dopamine activities, as your brain is adjusting to a lower level of stimulation. However, by staying committed to your goals and reminding yourself of the benefits of the detox, you can overcome these challenges and experience the positive effects of a reset brain. Another key point that Meurisse makes is that a dopamine detox is not a one-time fix, but rather a practice that can be incorporated into your life on a regular basis. Just as you would periodically cleanse your body of toxins, a dopamine detox allows you to cleanse your mind of the overstimulation that can accumulate over time. By making dopamine detoxes a part of your routine, you can maintain a healthy balance in your life and prevent the negative effects of overstimulation from taking hold. Meurisse's approach to dopamine detox is both practical and flexible. He recognizes that everyone's relationship with dopamine is different, and what works for one person might not work for another. As such, he encourages readers to experiment with different detox methods and to find a routine that suits their individual needs and lifestyle. Whether you choose to do a short detox over the weekend or a longer one that lasts for several weeks, the key is to be mindful of how your brain responds to different levels of stimulation and to adjust your habits accordingly. In addition to the practical benefits of a dopamine detox, Meurisse also highlights the broader impact that this practice can have on your overall quality of life. By reducing your reliance on external sources of pleasure and stimulation, you can cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and contentment. You may find that you are more present in your daily activities, more connected to the people around you, and more appreciative of the simple joys in life. This shift in perspective can lead to greater fulfillment and happiness as you learn to find satisfaction in the things that truly matter. Dopamine detox is not just a guide to managing overstimulation. It's a call to action for anyone who feels overwhelmed by the demands of modern life. Meurisse's message is clear. By taking control of your brain's dopamine system, you can reclaim your focus, improve your mental health, and live a more intentional and fulfilling life. Chapter 1. Understanding dopamine. In the journey to understand dopamine and its profound impact on our lives, it is essential to grasp what dopamine truly is and how it influences our behavior and decision making. Thibaut Meurisse, in his book Dopamine Detox, delves into the intricacies of dopamine, explaining its role in the brain and how it drives us toward pleasure and reward. This understanding forms the foundation for recognizing why we might feel overwhelmed by distractions and why a dopamine detox can be a powerful tool to regain control over our lives. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, which is a type of chemical messenger that plays a crucial role in transmitting signals in the brain and other areas of the body. Specifically, dopamine is closely linked to the brain's reward system. It is released when we engage in activities that our brain perceives as beneficial or enjoyable. This release of dopamine creates feelings of pleasure, reinforcing the behavior and making it more likely that we will repeat the activity in the future. This is a fundamental process that has been essential for human survival and evolution. For example, activities like eating, socializing, and reproducing all trigger dopamine release, ensuring that we are motivated to engage in behaviors that sustain life and promote the continuation of our species. However, in today's world, the environment we live in is drastically different from that of our ancestors. We are surrounded by activities and stimuli that provide an almost constant stream of dopamine hits. Social media, video games, processed foods, online shopping, and even the endless variety of entertainment options at our fingertips all offer immediate rewards that can be highly stimulating. This abundance of readily available pleasures has a significant impact on how our brain's dopamine system operates. The brain's reward system, while incredibly efficient, can also be easily manipulated. When we repeatedly engage in activities that trigger large releases of dopamine, our brain begins to adapt. This adaptation is known as tolerance. Just as someone might develop a tolerance to a drug, requiring more of it to achieve the same effect, our brain starts to require more stimulation to achieve the same level of dopamine release. This means that activities that once brought us joy or satisfaction may start to feel less rewarding over time. We might find ourselves needing to engage in these activities more frequently or in larger quantities to experience the same pleasure we once did. This phenomenon leads to what is often referred to as the dopamine loop. In this loop, we seek out activities that provide quick dopamine hits, but as we engage in them more frequently, the reward diminishes, prompting us to seek out even more stimulation. The loop becomes self-perpetuating, making it increasingly difficult to break free from the cycle of constant stimulation and craving. This is particularly evident in activities like social media usage, where the endless scroll of content is designed to keep us engaged and continually seeking the next hit of dopamine. Every like, comment, or new post provides a small burst of dopamine, keeping us hooked and coming back for more. Video games operate on a similar principle. Many games are designed with features that reward players frequently, such as leveling up, unlocking new content, or achieving in-game goals. Each of these rewards triggers a dopamine release, encouraging players to continue playing. The sense of accomplishment and progression in games can be highly addictive, leading to long hours of gameplay and a potential neglect of other important activities in life. Processed foods, particularly those high in sugar, fat, and salt, are another major source of dopamine hits in the modern world. These foods are engineered to be highly palatable, meaning they are designed to taste incredibly good and trigger a strong dopamine response. This is why it can be so difficult to stop eating foods like chips, cookies, or fast food, even when we know they are not good for our health. The pleasure derived from eating these foods can override our brain's signals of fullness or satiation, leading to overeating and cravings. The issue with all these high dopamine activities is that they can lead to what Meurisse describes as dopamine overload. When our brain is constantly bombarded with dopamine, it can become desensitized, meaning that the dopamine receptors in our brain become less responsive. This desensitization can manifest in various ways, often leading to symptoms that affect our daily lives. One common sign of dopamine overload is a lack of focus. When our brain is accustomed to constant stimulation, it becomes increasingly difficult to concentrate on tasks that do not provide immediate rewards. This is why activities that require sustained attention, such as studying, working on a project, or reading a book, can feel challenging or even unbearable. The brain, conditioned to seek out quick dopamine hits, struggles to engage in tasks that don't offer the same level of stimulation. Procrastination is another symptom closely tied to dopamine overload. When faced with a task that doesn't offer instant gratification, the brain may seek out more rewarding activities as a way to avoid discomfort. This is why we often find ourselves procrastinating by scrolling through social media, watching videos, or playing games when we should be working on something important. The allure of quick dopamine hits makes it difficult to start or complete tasks that require effort and delayed rewards. Moreover, the constant need for stimulation can lead to feelings of restlessness and dissatisfaction. When our brain is used to being constantly entertained or stimulated, moments of quiet or boredom can feel uncomfortable or even distressing. We might find ourselves reaching for our phones the moment we have a spare minute, or feeling anxious when there's nothing immediate to do. This restlessness can make it difficult to relax, enjoy the present moment, or engage in activities that require patience or endurance. In more severe cases, dopamine overload can contribute to mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. The overstimulation of the brain's reward system can lead to an imbalance in neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that regulate mood and emotions. When the brain becomes desensitized to dopamine, it can lead to a reduced ability to experience pleasure from everyday activities, a condition known as anhedonia. This lack of pleasure can contribute to feelings of emptiness, low motivation, and depression. Additionally, the constant need for stimulation and the inability to focus can exacerbate anxiety, as the mind struggles to find peace and stability in a world of constant distractions. Understanding the impact of dopamine on our lives is crucial because it highlights why so many of us feel overwhelmed, distracted, and unfulfilled in our daily lives. It also explains why a dopamine detox can be so effective in helping us regain control. By taking a break from the activities that overstimulate our dopamine system, we allow our brain to reset and recover. This process can help restore our sensitivity to dopamine, making it easier to find joy and satisfaction in simpler, more meaningful activities. Thibaut Meurisse, through his exploration of dopamine and its effects, provides a valuable framework for understanding why we might struggle with focus, motivation, and mental well-being in the modern world. His insights into the dopamine loop and the symptoms of dopamine overload serve as a wake-up call, encouraging us to take a closer look at how our daily habits are influencing our brain chemistry and overall quality of life. In essence, understanding dopamine is about understanding the mechanisms that drive our behavior, for better or worse. It's about recognizing that while dopamine plays a crucial role in motivation and reward, it can also lead us into unhealthy patterns of behavior if we're not mindful of how we manage it. By becoming aware of the ways in which modern-day activities manipulate our dopamine system, we can begin to take steps to protect our mental and emotional well-being. Merisse's approach in Dopamine Detox emphasizes that the goal is not to eliminate pleasure or reward from our lives, but to create a healthier relationship with dopamine. It's about learning to appreciate the natural rewards that come from meaningful work, deep connections, and personal growth, rather than relying on the constant stimulation provided by modern technology and convenience. By understanding dopamine and how it influences our behavior, we can make more informed choices about how we spend our time and energy, ultimately leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Chapter 2: The Problem with Modern Society. In today's world, it's nearly impossible to escape the constant barrage of stimulation that surrounds us. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with notifications, advertisements, social media updates, and countless other distractions. Technology has made it easier than ever to access information and entertainment at the touch of a button. While these advancements have brought many benefits, they have also contributed to a significant problem: overstimulation. Our brains are constantly being flooded with stimuli, and this nonstop engagement is having profound effects on our ability to find satisfaction in life. Overstimulation refers to the overwhelming amount of sensory input our brains are exposed to on a daily basis. This input comes from a variety of sources, including our smartphones, computers, televisions, and even the environments we live in. The constant notifications, emails, messages, and updates keep our brains in a state of perpetual alertness, making it difficult to relax and unwind. This unrelenting stream of information keeps us mentally engaged, but it also comes at a cost. One of the main consequences of this constant stimulation is that it makes it increasingly difficult for us to find satisfaction in simpler, more meaningful activities. Activities that once brought us joy, such as reading a book, spending time in nature, or having a deep conversation, can now feel boring or unfulfilling. This is because our brains have become accustomed to the quick dopamine hits provided by modern technology, and these simple activities don't provide the same level of stimulation. Dopamine, as Thibaut Meurisse explains, is the neurotransmitter responsible for the feelings of pleasure and reward we experience when we engage in enjoyable activities. In a natural, balanced state, dopamine helps us feel good about achieving goals, learning new things, and connecting with others. However, the problem arises when we become overly reliant on artificial sources of dopamine, such as social media, video games, and processed foods, that provide instant gratification without requiring much effort. The overstimulation caused by these modern conveniences leads to a condition where our brains are constantly seeking more stimulation to feel satisfied. This results in a situation where activities that once provided genuine pleasure are no longer sufficient to meet our dopamine cravings. For example, spending a quiet evening reading a book might no longer feel rewarding because it doesn't provide the immediate dopamine surge that checking social media or watching a fast-paced TV show does. This creates a vicious cycle where we continuously seek out more and more stimulation, yet find less and less satisfaction in the activities that truly matter. As Maurice points out, this overstimulation has far-reaching effects on our mental health. When our brains are constantly bombarded with stimuli, they don't have the opportunity to rest and recover. This constant state of alertness can lead to feelings of anxiety, as our minds are always on edge, anticipating the next notification or message. The pressure to keep up with the fast-paced digital world can create a sense of overwhelm, as we feel we must be constantly connected and available. Depression is another potential consequence of overstimulation. When we rely heavily on external sources of dopamine for our sense of pleasure and reward, we may begin to lose touch with the activities and relationships that provide deeper, more lasting fulfillment. The fleeting nature of the satisfaction we get from social media likes, instant messages, or binge watching shows can leave us feeling empty and unfulfilled in the long run. This lack of meaningful engagement can lead to feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a diminished sense of purpose. Furthermore, the constant need for stimulation can erode our ability to focus and concentrate on tasks that require sustained attention. In a world where distractions are everywhere, it's becoming increasingly difficult to engage in activities that require deep thought or prolonged effort. This can make it challenging to pursue long-term goals, complete complex projects, or even enjoy hobbies that don't provide immediate gratification. The result is a sense of restlessness and impatience, where we find it hard to stick with anything that doesn't provide an instant dopamine hit. Maurice emphasizes that the problem with modern society is not just the overstimulation itself, but also the way it undermines our ability to experience true contentment. When we are constantly seeking the next dopamine rush, we lose touch with the present moment and the simple pleasures it can offer. Instead of enjoying a quiet walk, we might find ourselves scrolling through our phones. Instead of savoring a meal, we might be distracted by a TV show or an endless stream of notifications. This constant distraction prevents us from fully engaging with life and appreciating the moments that truly matter. The impact of this overstimulation on our mental health is profound. Anxiety, depression, and a general sense of dissatisfaction are becoming increasingly common in our fast-paced, hyper-connected world. These issues are often compounded by the fact that many of the activities we turn to for relief, such as social media, video games, and online shopping, only serve to exacerbate the problem by providing more dopamine and further overstimulating our brains. Thibaut Meurisse's book, Dopamine Detox, offers a solution to this modern dilemma. He suggests that by taking a step back from the sources of constant stimulation and allowing our brains to reset, we can begin to regain control over our mental health and find satisfaction in the simpler, more meaningful aspects of life. This process involves being mindful of how we spend our time and making conscious choices to engage in activities that nourish our minds and bodies, rather than constantly seeking the next quick dopamine fix. In essence, the problem with modern society is that it has created an environment where overstimulation is the norm, and this has significant consequences for our mental health. By understanding the impact of this overstimulation and taking steps to manage it, we can begin to reclaim our ability to focus, find fulfillment in the present moment, and live a more balanced, satisfying life. Thibaut Meurisse's insights provide a valuable guide for anyone looking to navigate the challenges of our overstimulated world and achieve a greater sense of well-being. Chapter 3: The Science Behind Dopamine Detox. In a world where our brains are constantly bombarded with stimuli, the idea of a dopamine detox offers a refreshing pause. The concept is rooted in the understanding that by temporarily abstaining from activities that flood our brains with dopamine, we can give our neural circuits a chance to reset. Thibaut Meurisse emphasizes that this practice can lead to a clearer mind, enhanced focus, and an overall sense of well-being. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a significant role in how we experience pleasure and motivation. Whenever we engage in activities that we find enjoyable, whether it's scrolling through social media, playing video games, or eating sugary foods, our brain releases dopamine. This release is what makes these activities so enticing, and it's also what makes them difficult to resist. The more we engage in these behaviors, the more our brains come to expect the dopamine hit, leading to a cycle where we seek out these activities more frequently and with greater intensity. Over time, this constant pursuit of dopamine can lead to a state where our brains become desensitized to its effects. This means that the activities that once brought us pleasure no longer feel as satisfying, and we need to seek out even more intense experiences to achieve the same level of enjoyment. This desensitization can lead to a range of issues, including decreased motivation, difficulty focusing, and a general sense of dissatisfaction with life. Meurisse points out that a dopamine detox can help break this cycle. By stepping away from high dopamine activities, we can give our brains the opportunity to recalibrate. This process involves reducing or eliminating activities that overstimulate the brain and replacing them with simpler, low dopamine activities. The idea is not to completely cut out all sources of pleasure, but rather to reduce the overall level of stimulation so that our brains can reset and regain their sensitivity to dopamine. During a dopamine detox, you might choose to avoid things like social media, video games, or processed foods for a certain period of time. Instead, you would focus on activities that are less stimulating but still rewarding, such as reading, spending time in nature, or engaging in creative hobbies. These activities help to reset the brain's dopamine system by providing a more balanced level of stimulation. The benefits of this practice can be significant. As Meurisse explains, one of the most immediate effects of a dopamine detox is an improvement in mental clarity. When we're not constantly bombarding our brains with stimuli, we're better able to think clearly and focus on the tasks at hand. This can lead to greater productivity, as we're less likely to be distracted by the constant pull of high dopamine activities. In addition to improved focus, a dopamine detox can also lead to a greater sense of happiness and contentment. When our brains are not constantly chasing after the next dopamine hit, we're more likely to find joy in the simpler things in life. This can help to reduce feelings of anxiety and restlessness, as we're no longer caught in the cycle of constantly seeking out stimulation. Meurisse highlights that another key benefit of a dopamine detox is the opportunity to reconnect with ourselves. In our busy, overstimulated lives, it's easy to lose touch with what truly matters to us. By stepping away from the distractions of modern life, we can take the time to reflect on our values, goals, and priorities. This can lead to a greater sense of purpose and direction as we become more intentional about how we spend our time and energy. Overall, the science behind a dopamine detox is simple yet powerful. By giving our brains the chance to reset, we can regain control over our focus, productivity, and happiness. Meurice's approach is not about deprivation, but rather about creating a more balanced and fulfilling life. Through mindful reduction of overstimulation, we can create the space needed for our brains to function at their best, leading to a deeper sense of well-being and satisfaction. Chapter 4. Preparing for a dopamine detox. When preparing for a dopamine detox, the first step is to recognize the activities in your daily life that cause significant dopamine spikes. These are often the activities that, while initially rewarding, lead to overstimulation when indulged in excessively. Common examples include frequent use of social media, playing video games, binge watching TV shows, and consuming processed foods high in sugar. These activities are designed to provide immediate gratification, making them particularly potent triggers for dopamine release. Identifying these triggers requires self-awareness and honest reflection. Start by observing your habits and noticing which activities you turn to when you're bored, stressed, or looking for a quick mood boost. Pay attention to how you feel after engaging in these activities. Do you feel satisfied, or do you quickly find yourself wanting more? Recognizing the patterns in your behavior can help you pinpoint the specific activities that are contributing to overstimulation. Once you've identified your triggers, the next step is to set clear, achievable goals for your dopamine detox. Thibaut Meurisse emphasizes the importance of defining what you hope to accomplish through this process. Whether your aim is to improve your focus, reduce stress, or break free from an addictive behavior, having a clear objective will give you direction and motivation. Your goals should be realistic and tailored to your specific needs. For instance, if you find that social media is a major source of distraction, your goal might be to limit your usage to a certain amount of time each day, or to take a complete break for a set period. If you're looking to reduce stress, your goal could involve replacing high dopamine activities with more calming practices like meditation, reading, or spending time in nature. Meurisse also suggests that it's helpful to break down your goals into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of trying to eliminate all high dopamine activities at once, you might start by reducing your engagement with just 1 or 2 triggers. This gradual approach makes the detox process less overwhelming and increases the likelihood of long-term success. As you prepare for the detox, it's important to anticipate potential challenges and plan how you will address them. You might experience cravings or discomfort as your brain adjusts to lower levels of stimulation, especially in the early stages of the detox. Being aware of these challenges and having strategies in place, such as finding alternative activities to occupy your time or setting up a support system, can help you stay committed to your goals. By taking the time to identify your triggers and set clear, achievable goals, you can approach the dopamine detox with a strong foundation. This preparation is key to making the process effective and ensuring that the changes you make are sustainable in the long term. Chapter 5. The Dopamine Detox Process. To perform a dopamine detox, the key is to follow a structured plan that allows your brain to reset by avoiding high dopamine activities and replacing them with low dopamine alternatives. Thibaut Meurisse's recommendations in Dopamine Detox provide a helpful framework for this process. Start by identifying activities that frequently give you dopamine spikes. These typically include social media, video games, streaming services, processed foods, and constant news consumption. The first step in your detox is to eliminate or significantly reduce these activities for a set period, usually about a week. During this time, aim to avoid engaging in them entirely. Setting clear boundaries is crucial to staying on track. For example, limit or block access to social media, remove video games from your devices, and avoid streaming services. Instead of consuming processed foods, opt for healthier alternatives like fruits and vegetables. To manage news consumption, restrict it to a brief, designated time each day. With these boundaries in place, plan your detox by incorporating low dopamine activities that help your brain reset. Meditation is a great starting point, offering mindfulness and stress reduction. Begin with short sessions and gradually increase the time. Daily walks, especially in nature, provide gentle physical activity and a break from screens. Journaling can be a valuable tool to document your experiences and reflections during the detox, helping you understand your habits and emotions better. Reading is another productive alternative. Choose books that interest you without being overly stimulating. Creative hobbies like drawing, painting, or playing a musical instrument can also be fulfilling without causing intense dopamine spikes. Establish a daily routine that includes these low dopamine activities. Start your mornings with meditation to set a calm, focused tone, followed by a walk or light exercise. Midday can be dedicated to journaling or creative hobbies, avoiding distractions like phone use. In the afternoon, continue with productive tasks and take breaks with a walk or reading if needed. Evenings should be reserved for winding down with relaxation techniques such as stretching or light reading, steering clear of screens, and stimulating activities to improve sleep quality. Throughout the detox, monitor your progress. Notice changes in your focus, mood, and overall well-being. It's normal to experience some discomfort or cravings at first, but these should decrease as your brain adjusts. The goal of this detox isn't to eliminate dopamine stimulation entirely, but to balance it and find more sustainable sources of pleasure and satisfaction. By following this plan, you can improve your mental clarity, productivity, and overall happiness. Chapter 6: Overcoming Challenges. As you embark on a dopamine detox, it's natural to encounter various challenges that can make the process difficult. Understanding these challenges and knowing how to navigate them is crucial for a successful detox. Thibaut Meurisse emphasizes that the key to overcoming these obstacles lies in preparation, patience, and the ability to adapt to the discomfort that comes with reducing your brain's reliance on constant stimulation. One of the most common challenges during a dopamine detox is boredom. When you eliminate activities that provide immediate gratification, you may find yourself with a lot of unstructured time, leading to feelings of restlessness and boredom. This is particularly challenging because your brain is used to being constantly entertained and stimulated. The sudden absence of these high dopamine activities can make you feel like there's nothing to do, and you might struggle to find joy in simpler, low dopamine tasks. To overcome boredom, Meurisse suggests gradually introducing activities that require focus and creativity. Instead of turning to passive entertainment, like watching TV or scrolling through your phone, try engaging in activities that stimulate your mind in a different way. Reading, journaling, or learning a new skill can be fulfilling alternatives. These activities may not provide the instant dopamine hit that you're used to, but over time, they can become more enjoyable as your brain adapts to a lower level of stimulation. Another significant challenge during a dopamine detox is dealing with anxiety. For many people, high dopamine activities like social media or video games serve as coping mechanisms to escape stress or anxiety. When these activities are removed, you might experience heightened anxiety or discomfort as your brain adjusts. This can be especially challenging in the first few days of the detox, when your brain is craving the stimulation it's no longer receiving. Maurice advises practicing mindfulness and breathing exercises to manage these feelings of anxiety. Simple techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation can help calm your mind and reduce the intensity of your anxiety. It's also helpful to remind yourself that these feelings are temporary and part of the detox process. With time, your brain will adjust and the anxiety should diminish. Cravings are another obstacle you may face during a dopamine detox. Whether it's the urge to check your phone, indulge in junk food, or play a video game, cravings can be powerful and difficult to resist. These cravings occur because your brain is used to receiving frequent dopamine boosts and it wants to return to its familiar pattern of behavior. To combat cravings, Maurice recommends having a plan in place for when they arise. One effective strategy is to distract yourself with a low dopamine activity whenever you feel a craving coming on. For example, if you have the urge to check social media, you might go for a walk, practice a hobby, or engage in a brief exercise session instead. It's important to be proactive and prepared for these moments so you can resist the temptation to revert to old habits. Another practical tip from Maurice is to set clear goals and reminders of why you're doing the detox in the first place. Having a strong why can help you stay motivated when the detox feels challenging. Whether your goal is to improve focus, reduce stress, or break an addiction, keeping this goal in mind can give you the determination to push through difficult moments. Meurisse also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion during a dopamine detox. It's normal to encounter setbacks or slip-ups, and it's important not to be too hard on yourself if things don't go perfectly. Instead of viewing a setback as a failure, see it as a learning opportunity. Reflect on what triggered the setback and how you can handle similar situations better in the future. By being kind to yourself, you're more likely to stay on track and maintain a positive attitude throughout the detox. In conclusion, overcoming the challenges of a dopamine detox requires a combination of strategies, including engaging in fulfilling low dopamine activities, managing anxiety with mindfulness, combating cravings with proactive measures, and maintaining a compassionate attitude toward yourself. By following these tips and staying committed to the process, you can successfully navigate the detox and enjoy the long-term benefits of a more balanced and focused mind, as outlined by Thibaut Meurisse. Chapter 7. Life After Dopamine Detox. After completing a dopamine detox, the key challenge is to maintain the benefits you've gained and integrate them into your everyday life. The process doesn't end with the detox itself. Rather, it marks the beginning of a more balanced and mindful approach to how you engage with activities that affect your dopamine levels. The goal is to ensure that the positive changes you've experienced during the detox become lasting habits, helping you lead a more fulfilling and focused life. One of the most important aspects of sustaining the benefits of a dopamine detox is managing dopamine triggers. Throughout the detox, you've likely become more aware of the activities and behaviors that overstimulate your brain's reward system. Now, it's crucial to remain vigilant about these triggers and develop strategies to keep them in check. This doesn't mean you have to completely avoid all sources of dopamine forever. Rather, it's about finding a healthier balance. For instance, instead of spending hours scrolling through social media, you might choose to check your accounts at specific times of the day. By setting boundaries around these activities, you can enjoy them without falling back into patterns of overstimulation. To help maintain this balance, Thibaut Meurisse suggests creating a daily routine that prioritizes low dopamine activities while allowing for controlled engagement with high dopamine ones. Incorporating activities like reading, exercising, or spending time in nature can help you keep your dopamine levels in check. These activities are not only beneficial for your mental health, but also serve as effective tools to reset your brain when you feel overwhelmed or overstimulated. Building a healthier relationship with dopamine is about making conscious choices that promote long-term well-being over short-term pleasure. Meurisse emphasizes the importance of being intentional with your time and energy, focusing on activities that genuinely contribute to your happiness and growth. This might mean pursuing hobbies that require focus and patience, such as learning a new skill, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in creative endeavors. Integrating these low dopamine activities into your daily routine can help you maintain the clarity and focus you've developed during the detox. For example, starting your day with a few minutes of meditation can set a calm and mindful tone, helping you approach the rest of your day with greater awareness and intention. Similarly, taking regular breaks to go for a walk or do some light exercise can refresh your mind and prevent you from slipping back into overstimulating habits. Meurisse also advises that you periodically reassess your relationship with dopamine-triggering activities. Life is dynamic, and what might be a healthy balance today could shift over time due to changes in your environment, responsibilities, or goals. Regularly reflecting on your habits and making adjustments as needed can help you stay on track and continue to benefit from the principles of the dopamine detox. In essence, the real success of a dopamine detox lies not just in the short-term reset it provides, but in the lasting changes it inspires in your lifestyle. By managing your dopamine triggers, maintaining a balanced routine, and consciously integrating low dopamine activities into your daily life, you can build a healthier, more sustainable relationship with dopamine. This approach will not only help you maintain the benefits of the detox, but also support your ongoing journey toward greater focus, productivity, and overall well being. Chapter 8 Conclusion. In wrapping up the journey through the principles of dopamine detox, it's important to reflect on the key concepts that have been explored and the impact they can have on your life. Throughout the book, the focus has been on understanding the role of dopamine in the brain and how modern life, with its constant barrage of stimuli, often leads to overstimulation and imbalance. By resetting the brain's reward system through a dopamine detox, you can regain control over your focus, productivity, and overall well being. Dopamine is a powerful neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in how we experience pleasure, motivation, and reward. However, in today's world, where instant gratification is just a click away, dopamine can easily be overstimulated. This overstimulation can lead to a cycle of dependency on high dopamine activities, making it harder to find satisfaction in simpler, more meaningful experiences. The idea behind a dopamine detox, as emphasized by Thibaut Meurisse, is to temporarily step away from these high dopamine activities to allow your brain to reset. This process helps you break free from the constant need for stimulation and regain your ability to focus on what truly matters. By doing so, you can experience a greater sense of calm, clarity, and contentment. Throughout the book, the steps to successfully perform a dopamine detox were laid out, along with the science behind why it works. From identifying your triggers to planning a detox routine, each chapter provided practical advice on how to implement these strategies into your life. The process is not without its challenges, as overcoming cravings, boredom, and anxiety requires patience and determination. However, the rewards of a more balanced and mindful life are well worth the effort. One of the most significant takeaways from this journey is the importance of maintaining the benefits of the detox in your daily life. It's not just about completing a one-time detox, but rather about integrating the lessons learned into your everyday routine. By setting boundaries around high dopamine activities, incorporating low dopamine activities into your schedule, and practicing mindfulness, you can sustain the positive effects of the detox long term. Thibaut Meurisse also emphasizes the importance of periodically performing dopamine detoxes as a way to maintain mental well-being. Just as you would take time to rest and recover physically, your mind also benefits from regular periods of rest from overstimulation. These detoxes serve as a reminder to stay mindful of how you engage with the world around you and to ensure that you're living in a way that supports your mental health. Living a more mindful life is about being intentional with your actions and aware of how different activities impact your state of mind. It's about finding joy in the present moment rather than constantly seeking the next high dopamine reward. By practicing mindfulness, you can develop a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you, leading to greater fulfillment and happiness. In essence, the dopamine detox is more than just a temporary reset. It's a tool for creating lasting change in your life. By understanding the power of dopamine and how to manage it effectively, you can take control of your mental well-being and live a life that is more focused, balanced, and fulfilling. The journey doesn't end with the completion of the detox. It's an ongoing process of self-awareness and self-improvement. The strategies and insights shared in this book are meant to be applied continuously, helping you navigate the challenges of modern life with greater resilience and clarity. By staying committed to these practices, you can continue to grow and thrive in a world that is often overwhelming and overstimulating. Thibaut Meurisse encourages you to take what you've learned and apply it to your life, not just as a one-time experiment, but as a new way of living. The power to create change is in your hands, and by being mindful of how you manage dopamine, you can unlock a more peaceful, focused, and satisfying life.